The Awakening of Earth's Ancient Fleet. In the year 2157, humanity thought it was alone in the universe. How wrong they were. The skies above Earth darkened as thousands of alien ships entered the atmosphere. Panic spread across the globe as the invasion began. Humanity's limited defenses crumbled within hours. All seemed lost. But deep beneath the surface, something ancient stirred. In a hidden chamber miles below the Himalayan mountains, 12-year-old Arya Chen huddled in fear as explosions rocked the earth above. Her parents, both brilliant scientists, worked frantically at a control panel covered in strange symbols. "We have to wake them," Arya's mother said, her voice tight with tension. "It's our only hope." Arya's father nodded grimly. "But the cost, are we really willing to pay it?" They shared a pained look, then turned to their daughter. Arya shrunk back, suddenly afraid. "Sweetheart," her mother said gently, "do you remember the stories we told you? About Earth's ancient protectors?" Arya nodded. The tales of godlike beings who had defended Earth eons ago had been her favorite bedtime stories. "They're real," her father said, "and we need your help to wake them." Before Arya could respond, the chamber shook violently. Dust and debris rained down as cracks spread across the ceiling. "They found us," Arya's mother gasped. "We're out of time." With a determined look, Arya's father scooped her up and placed her on a raised platform in the center of the room. Ancient mechanisms whirred to life around her. "Be brave, my little star," he said, tears in his eyes. "The fate of humanity rests with you now." Arya wanted to run, to hide, but she stood tall. If this was humanity's only hope, she would do her part. Her parents worked the controls with practiced speed. Energy crackled through the air as long-dormant systems surged to life. A beam of light engulfed Arya. She felt a sharp pain in her palm as an unseen blade drew blood. A single crimson drop fell, sizzling as it hit the platform below. The chamber filled with blinding light. Arya screamed as power beyond imagining coursed through her small body. In that moment, she saw glimpses of Earth's true history, of godlike beings who had protected the planet since its birth, of epic battles against cosmic horrors, of a terrible threat that had forced those ancient guardians into hibernation eons ago. Now that threat had returned, and Arya's blood was the key to reawakening Earth's sleeping defenders. Miles above, the alien invaders paused in their assault as the ground began to tremble. Fissures opened in the earth, mountains crumbled, and seas parted as colossal forms rose from hidden chambers across the globe. Massive beings of living metal and energy towered over the landscape, dwarfing even the largest alien ships. Their eyes glowed with power as they awakened fully for the first time in millions of years. Earth's ancient fleet had returned. In orbit, the alien armada reeled in shock as sensors detected energy readings beyond anything they had ever encountered. Aboard the invasion's command ship, Supreme Commander Zixthar watched in growing horror as reports flooded in from the surface. This primitive world, which should have fallen in hours, was revealing defenses that rivaled anything in the known galaxy. "Impossible," Zixthar hissed. "Intensify the attack. We will crush these humans and claim this world for the glory of the Ixtheran Empire." But even as the words left his mouth, Zixthar felt a creeping dread. Something had changed. The easy conquest they had anticipated was rapidly becoming a desperate fight for survival. On the surface, humanity watched in awe as their unexpected saviors engaged the alien fleet. Beams of unimaginable power lanced from the colossal guardians, annihilating entire squadrons of enemy ships. The tide had turned, but the battle for Earth's survival was far from over. In the hidden chamber deep below the Himalayas, Arya Chen collapsed as the awakening ritual ended. Her parents rushed to her side, cradling her gently. "You did it, sweetheart," her mother whispered. "You saved us all." Arya managed a weak smile before unconsciousness claimed her. As she drifted into darkness, a voice echoed in her mind, ancient, powerful, and filled with gratitude. "Rest now, little one. Your courage has given us new life. We will not fail in our duty again. Earth and all her children are under our protection once more. The battle for humanity's survival raged on. But now, for the first time, there was hope. The Titans unleashed. As Earth's ancient guardians rose to meet the alien threat, humanity watched in awe and terror. These colossal beings, each standing miles high, moved with impossible grace for their size. Their bodies seemed to shift between solid metal and pure energy, adapting to each new challenge posed by the invaders. General Sarah Hawkins, commander of Earth's meager defense forces, stood in the smoking ruins of the Pentagon, her eyes fixed on tactical displays showing the unfolding battle. She had prepared her entire life to defend Earth from extraterrestrial threats, but nothing could have prepared her for this. "My God," she whispered, "what are they?" As if in answer, one of the displays flickered, showing a grainy image of a young girl, Aria Chen. A voice, distorted but understandable, began to speak. "General Hawkins, this is Dr. Ilara Chen. My husband and I. We've awakened Earth's ancient protectors. They're called the Titans. They've defended our world since before humanity existed, but were forced into hibernation eons ago. Our daughter's blood was the key to waking them." Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. "Dr. Chen, I need answers. What are we dealing with here?" "The Titans are beyond our comprehension," Ilara replied. "But they're on our side. They'll defend Earth at any cost." As they spoke, the battle raged on. In orbit, the alien fleet frantically regrouped, bringing their heaviest weapons to bear against the Titans. But their most powerful attacks seemed to wash harmlessly over the Guardians' shifting forms. Supreme Commander Zixthar watched in growing despair as his mighty armada was systematically dismantled. Ships that could lay waste to entire worlds were swatted aside like insects. "This cannot be happening," he snarled. "Call for reinforcements. We will not be denied our prize." But even as he gave the order, Zixthar knew it was futile. Whatever these beings were, they wielded power beyond anything the Ixtheran Empire had ever encountered. On the surface, the Titans moved with purpose, their every step reshaping the landscape. Mountains rose and fell, rivers changed course, and entire continents shifted as the ancient beings reconfigured Earth's geography to better defend against the invasion. Humanity huddled in whatever shelter they could find, alternating between terror at the apocalyptic destruction around them and hope that these giant protectors truly were on their side. In the Himalayan chamber, Aria Chen slowly regained consciousness. As her eyes fluttered open, she gasped. The room around her had changed, its walls now covered in swirling patterns of light that seemed to show scenes from across the globe. "Mom, Dad?" she called out weakly. Her parents were at her side in an instant. "We're here, sweetheart," her father said, his voice thick with emotion. "You did it. You saved us all." Aria shook her head, confused. "But what did I do? I don't understand." Before her parents could answer, one of the wall panels flared brightly. An image formed, a face of sorts, but one that seemed to be composed of shifting metal and energy, much like the Titans themselves. "Greetings, little one," a voice boomed, somehow both thunderous and gentle. "I am Cronus, eldest of the Titan Guardians. Through your sacrifice, you have restored us to our sacred duty." Aria stared in wonder. You're real. All those stories." Cronus's face seemed to smile. "Indeed, we have guarded this world since its birth, but a great enemy forced us into slumber long ago. Now that enemy has returned, and thanks to you, we stand ready to face them once more." As Cronus spoke, Aria began to understand. Somehow, she was now connected to the Titans, able to see through their eyes and feel their thoughts. She saw the battle raging across the Earth and in orbit, felt the Titans' determination to protect their charges. But she also sensed something else, a looming threat far greater than the current invasion. The Titans were preparing for a war that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. There is much you must know, Area Chen, Cronus said solemnly. The role you have to play is far from over. The awakening was just the beginning. As the ancient being spoke, Area felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. She was just a child, but somehow she had become central to events that would shape the destiny of worlds. Meanwhile, in orbit, Supreme Commander Zixthar made a fateful decision. If his fleet couldn't claim this world, then no one would have it. He gave the order to deploy the Worldbreaker, a weapon of last resort capable of shattering a planet's core. As the massive device began to power up, the Titans sensed the new threat. Their response was swift and terrible. A beam of pure energy lanced out from Earth, bypassing the alien fleet entirely to strike at the heart of the Ixtheran Empire thousands of light years away. In an instant, the Ixtheran homeworld was no more. An entire civilization, one that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia, was wiped from existence. The message was clear. Earth was not to be trifled with. The ancient guardians would protect their charge, no matter the cost. As the remaining alien ships fled in panic, humanity began to emerge from hiding. They looked up at their colossal protectors with a mixture of gratitude and fear, knowing that their world would never be the same. In the Pentagon ruins, General Hawkins received another transmission from Dr. Chen. "This is just the beginning," Ilara said, her voice grim. "The real war is yet to come." Sarah nodded, steeling herself for the challenges ahead. Humanity had survived its first contact with hostile aliens, but at what cost? And what greater threats lurked in the depths of space, waiting to test Earth's newfound strength? As night fell on a changed world, billions of eyes looked to the stars with new understanding. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and thanks to the blood of one brave child, they now had the power to shape their own destiny among the stars. The Titans stood watch, their towering forms a promise of protection and a warning to any who would threaten their world. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The age of the Titans had begun. The galactic stage. In the weeks following the failed Ixtheran invasion, Earth underwent a transformation unlike anything in human history. The Titans, their duty to protect humanity renewed, began reshaping the planet to better defend against future threats. Cities were rebuilt with technology beyond human understanding. Massive energy shields shimmer at overpopulated areas. And deep beneath the surface, the Titans constructed a network of tunnels and chambers that would serve as humanity's last refuge should the worst come to pass. Area Chen, still coming to terms with her newfound connection to the ancient guardians, found herself at the center of these changes. Through her link with Cronus, she became a bridge between humanity and the Titans, helping to guide the monumental changes sweeping across the globe. "It's too much," Area confided to her parents one night, overwhelmed by the responsibility. "I'm just a kid. How can I be part of all this?" Dr. Ilara Chen hugged her daughter tightly. "You're so much more than just anything, sweetheart. The Titans chose you for a reason. We have to trust in that." As Earth adapted to its new reality, the rest of the galaxy took notice. The destruction of the Ixtheran homeworld had sent shockwaves through interstellar civilization. A power capable of such devastation could not be ignored. In the gleaming spires of Celestia, capital of the Galactic Confederation, urgent meetings were called. Representatives from 1,000 worlds debated how to respond to this new player on the cosmic stage. Ambassador Zilvera of the Arcturian Collective addressed the assembly, her crystalline form shimmering with concern. "We cannot ignore the threat posed by these Titans. Their power is beyond anything we've encountered. We must neutralize them before they turn their sights on us." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber, but not all were convinced. Thorak, elder of the silicon-based Lithosians, raised a gnarled limb for attention. "Have we forgotten the crimes of the Ixtheran? Perhaps. These Titans and their human charges are not a threat, but potential allies against the true darkness that looms at the edge of our galaxy." The debate raged on, but in the end, caution won out. A decision was made to send a diplomatic mission to Earth to assess the situation firsthand and, if necessary, lay the groundwork for a preemptive strike. Back on Earth, preparations were underway for humanity's first steps onto the galactic stage. The Titans, through Area, had shared knowledge of faster-than-light travel and other advanced technologies. A massive shipyard had been constructed in orbit, where the first human starships were taking shape. General Sarah Hawkins, now head of the newly formed Earth Defense Force, oversaw the military aspects of these preparations. As she toured the orbital facility, she marveled at how far they had come in such a short time. To think, just months ago, we could barely reach our own moon, she mused to her aide. And now we're building ships that can cross the galaxy in days. But even as humanity reached for the stars, tensions on Earth were growing. Not everyone was comfortable with the changes brought by the Titans. Protest movements sprang up, demanding a return to normal life. Some even called for the Titans to leave Earth entirely. Area, watching news reports of the unrest, felt a pang of guilt. Maybe we should have left things as they were, she said to Kronos during one of their mental communions. The ancient being's response was gentle but firm. Change is never easy, little one. But it is necessary. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and humanity must be ready to face what comes. As if to underscore Kronos' words, alarms suddenly blared throughout the orbital shipyard. A massive vessel had appeared at the edge of the solar system, far larger than anything humanity had yet constructed. First contact, General Hawkins breathed, a mix of excitement and apprehension in her voice. This is what we've been preparing for. As Earth's fledgling defense fleet moved to intercept the alien ship, the Titans stirred. Through her link, Area felt their unease. These new arrivals were not the clear threat the Ixtheran had been, but neither were they friends. The diplomatic vessel from the Galactic Confederation entered orbit, dwarfing the human ships that surrounded it. A transmission crackled across all frequencies. People of Earth, we come in peace. We represent the Galactic Confederation, a union of spacefaring civilizations. We wish to open diplomatic relations and discuss your recent emergence onto the galactic stage. In the Pentagon War Room, now rebuilt with Titan technology, Earth's leaders debated how to respond. Some urged caution. Others saw an opportunity to assert humanity's new strength. In the end, it was Area who broke the deadlock. Through her, Kronos spoke directly to the assembled leaders. We will meet with these representatives. But know this, they come not just out of curiosity, but fear. They have tasted our power and seek to understand if we are friend or foe. How we respond now will shape humanity's place in the galaxy for eons to come. As preparations for the historic meeting began, Area felt the weight of destiny settling on her young shoulders. She was no longer just a child, but a linchpin in humanity's cosmic future. In orbit, the Confederation diplomats waited nervously, watching the colossal forms of the Titans on the planet below. They had come seeking answers, but found themselves facing questions they had never thought to ask. The stage was set for an encounter that would change the course of galactic history. Humanity, guided by the wisdom of the Titans and the innocence of a child, was about to take its first true steps into a larger universe. As night fell over a transformed Earth, billions looked to the stars with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity's destiny now lay beyond the confines of their home world. The age of cosmic innocence was over. The age of galactic civilization had begun. The cosmic crucible, the Great Hall of the United Nations, rebuilt and enhanced with Titan technology, hummed with tension. Representatives from every nation on Earth sat alongside the diplomatic delegation from the Galactic Confederation. At the center of it all stood Area Chen, looking small and vulnerable despite the enormous power she represented. Ambassador Zilvera of the Arcturian Collective stepped forward, her crystalline form catching the light. People of Earth, she began, her voice translated seamlessly by advanced tech. We come seeking understanding. The power you wield through these titans is unlike anything our civilization has encountered. We must know, do you intend to use this power for conquest or for peace? General Sarah Hawkins, representing Earth's military interests, bristled at the implied threat. But before she could respond, Aria spoke, her voice carrying the wisdom of Cronus. We seek neither conquest nor subjugation. The Titans are guardians, protectors of life. We defended ourselves against unprovoked aggression, nothing more. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Thorak, the Lithosian elder, raised a gnarled limb. Then why destroy an entire world? The Ixtheran homeworld was reduced to cosmic dust. How can we trust such destructive potential? Aria felt Cronus' sadness flow through her. A regrettable necessity. The Ixtheran were but puppets of a greater threat, one that has haunted this galaxy for eons. We had hoped to spare you this knowledge, but the time for secrets has passed. With those words, the Great Hall's holographic displays came to life. Images of cosmic horror beyond imagining filled the air. Vast, shadowy entities that devoured entire star systems, leaving only void in their wake. The darkness, Cronus spoke through Aria. Ancient beyond reckoning, hungry beyond satiation. They slumber now at the galaxy's edge, but their awakening draws near. This is the threat we have prepared for, the reason the Titans were created eons ago. Shock and disbelief rippled through the assembly. Ambassador Zilvera's crystalline form paled. Impossible, she whispered. Surely we would have detected such a threat. Your civilizations are young, Aria/Cronus replied. You see only what your limited senses allow. The Titans were created by those who came before, tasked with shepherding life until it could stand against the darkness. That time is now upon us. As the implications sank in, the mood in the hall shifted. Fear gave way to a grim determination. This was no longer about Earth's place in the galactic community. It was about the survival of all life in the face of cosmic annihilation. Thorak, his ancient eyes filled with newfound respect, addressed Aria directly. Child of Earth, conduit of the Titans, what would you have us do? Aria felt the weight of galaxies on her shoulders. She took a deep breath, channeling not just Cronus now, but all the Titans. We must unite, she said, her voice resonating with power. Not just Earth and your confederation, but all sentient life. The darkness cannot be fought with weapons alone. It will take the combined will and imagination of every thinking being to stand against them. As she spoke, the holographic displays shifted, showing visions of a united galaxy. Worlds linked by technology beyond imagination. Civilizations working together to unlock the fundamental forces of the universe itself. This is our crucible, Aria/Cronus continued. The moment that will define not just humanity or your confederation, but all life in this galaxy. We stand now at a crossroads. Unite, and we have a chance to face the darkness. Remain divided, and all will be consumed. The hall fell silent as the enormity of the situation sank in. Then, slowly, voices began to rise. Questions were asked, plans were proposed. The seeds of a galactic alliance, one that transcended old fears and rivalries, began to take root. As the discussions continued, Aria felt herself growing weary. The strain of channeling the Titans was taking its toll. She swayed slightly, and her mother, Dr. Ilara Chen, was instantly at her side. I think that's enough for now, sweetheart, Ilara said softly. You've done more than anyone could have asked. As Aria was led from the hall, the delegates continued their urgent discussions. The fate of galaxies hung in the balance, but the first, crucial step had been taken. Outside, Aria looked up at the night sky, now filled with the unfamiliar shapes of alien ships. Did we do the right thing? She asked, her voice small and uncertain. Dr. Chen hugged her daughter tightly. You've given the galaxy a fighting chance, she said. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. As if in response, the ground trembled slightly. Around the world, the Titans stirred. their massive forms shifting in anticipation. Through her fading link, Aria felt their resolve. The greatest battle in cosmic history was coming, and Earth would be at its heart. In orbit, the combined fleets of Earth and the Galactic Confederation began to move into defensive formations. On 1,000 worlds, ancient technologies were being unearthed, long-forgotten weapons primed for use once more. The darkness at the edge of the galaxy stirred, sensing the shift in the cosmic balance. Its hunger, undiminished by eons of slumber, began to grow. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine the fate of all existence, and at its center stood humanity. No longer an isolated species on a backwater world, but the inheritors of an ancient legacy and the last, best hope for life itself. As Aria drifted off to sleep that night, exhausted by the day's events, she dreamed of stars and shadows, of titans and terrors. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But for the first time since the titans awoke, she felt a glimmer of true hope. The cosmic crucible awaited. Humanity, guided by the wisdom of the titans and the courage of a child, would meet its destiny among the stars. The gathering storm. In the months following the revelation of the darkness, the galaxy underwent a transformation unlike any in cosmic history. The Galactic Confederation, once fractured by old rivalries and suspicions, now united with a single purpose: survival. Earth, guided by the Titans and Aria's unique connection to them, became the focal point of this new alliance. The orbital shipyards, already impressive, expanded to encompass much of the solar system. Vessels of designs as numerous as the species that crewed them gathered in ever-growing numbers. Aria, now 14, found herself at the heart of these preparations. Her role as conduit between humanity, the Titans, and the wider galactic community had thrust her into a position of responsibility far beyond her years. "I never wanted this," she confided to General Hawkins during a rare quiet moment. They stood in the newly constructed Cosmic Command Center, a vast chamber deep within the moon where the combined forces of the galaxy coordinated their efforts. Sarah Hawkins, her face lined with the stress of recent months, placed a comforting hand on Aria's shoulder. "None of us did, kid. But sometimes the universe doesn't give us a choice. We just have to rise to the challenge." As they spoke, holographic displays showed the progress of Project Luminous Aegis, a massive undertaking to create a galaxy-wide defense network. Thousands of worlds were being outfitted with Titan-inspired technology, linking them in a web of energy that, theoretically, could repel even the darkness. But theory and reality often diverge, as they were about to discover. Alarms blared throughout the command center. A frantic technician called out, "Massive anomaly detected in the Andromeda sector. It's like nothing we've ever seen." The main display flickered, showing a region of space where reality itself seemed to be unraveling. Stars winked out of existence, replaced by a creeping void that defied description. "It's happening," Aria whispered, feeling Kronos' dread flowing through her. "The darkness is awakening." General Hawkins snapped into action, barking orders to scramble the fleet. But even as she did, more reports flooded in. Similar anomalies were appearing across the galaxy, each heralding the arrival of an entity of cosmic horror. In orbit around a distant world, a Confederation science vessel hung in space, its crew watching in terror as a tendril of pure darkness reached out towards them. Captain Jorax, a veteran of 100 campaigns, felt his 3 hearts skip a beat. "Evasive maneuvers," he shouted, but it was too late. The tendril touched the ship's hull, and reality shifted. In an instant, the crew found themselves not in the cold vacuum of space, but in a realm beyond comprehension. Shapes that defied Euclidean geometry writhed all around them. Colors that had no name in any language assaulted their senses. And there, at the center of it all, they saw the truth of the darkness. It was not just a force of destruction, but a malevolent intelligence that had existed since the dawn of time itself. It hungered not just for energy or matter, but for the very essence of conscious thought. As quickly as it had begun, the vision ended. The science vessel reappeared in normal space, its crew forever changed by what they had witnessed. Back on Earth, Area collapsed, overwhelmed by the psychic backlash of countless minds touched by the darkness. Through her link with the Titans, she felt their grim determination. The moment they had prepared for over eons had finally arrived. As Aria's parents rushed to her side, the Titans began to move. Across the Earth, their colossal forms shifted and changed, merging into new configurations of impossible power. The ground shook, the seas parted, and the sky itself seemed to bend as the ancient guardians prepared for war. In the Cosmic Command Center, General Hawkins watched in awe as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The luminous Aegis was activating, each world in the network lighting up like a beacon against the encroaching dark. But it wasn't enough. For every world that resisted, a dozen others fell silent, consumed by the cosmic horror that now roamed freely through the stars. Ambassador Zilvera, her crystalline form dulled with fatigue, addressed the Emergency Council. "We are losing," she said, her voice heavy with despair. "The darkness is everywhere at once. How can we fight an enemy that rewrites reality itself?" It was Thorak, the ancient Lithosian, who answered. "We fight with everything we are," he said, his voice stronger than it had been in centuries. "Every thought, every dream, every scrap of imagination and will. The darkness feeds on consciousness. Then we shall give it indigestion." A plan began to form, born from the combined intellects of 100 species and guided by the ancient wisdom of the Titans. If individual minds were vulnerable to the darkness, then perhaps a unified consciousness, spanning the entire galaxy, could stand against it. But such a merging had never been attempted on this scale. The risks were enormous. Failure could mean the loss of not just lives, but the very essence of every thinking being in the galaxy. As the preparations for this last, desperate gambit began, Aria finally regained consciousness. She looked up at her worried parents, then out at the star-filled sky, now marred by patches of creeping void. "I understand now," she said softly, "why it had to be me, why the Titans chose a child." Dr. Ilara Chen brushed a strand of hair from her daughter's forehead. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" Aria's eyes seemed to glow with inner light as she answered, "Because only a child could imagine a solution so impossible, so wonderful, that even the darkness couldn't conceive of it. We're not going to fight the darkness. We're going to embrace it, and in doing so, transform it." As Aria spoke, the Titans resonated with her words. Across the galaxy, on every world not yet consumed, beings of all kinds felt a spark of hope kindle in their hearts. The final battle for the fate of all existence was about to begin, and at its center stood a child from Earth, carrying the wisdom of cosmic entities and the boundless imagination of youth. The darkness surged forward, hungry for its final victory, but the light of 1,000,000,000,000 souls, unified in purpose, stood ready to meet it. In that moment on the edge of oblivion, the true power of life itself was about to be unleashed. The Cosmic Symphony. As the darkness closed in from all sides, the combined forces of the galaxy prepared for their final desperate gambit. The plan, born from Aria's impossible imagination and refined by the collective genius of 100 species, was as beautiful as it was terrifying. Across the galaxy, on every world not yet consumed by the void, beings of all kinds gathered in vast meditation chambers. Titan technology, merged with the finest innovations of the Galactic Confederation, hummed to life. The air crackled with potential as trillions of minds prepared to link in a way never before attempted. At the heart of it all stood Aria, her small form dwarfed by the massive apparatus that would channel the thoughts of an entire galaxy. The Cosmic Synchronizer, they called it. A device that would allow every conscious being to contribute to a single unified thought. General Hawkins, her face etched with worry, approached Aria. "Are you sure about this, kid? There's no guarantee it will work. And the strain on you." Aria nodded, her eyes shimmering with a mixture of fear and determination. "It has to be me," she said softly. I'm the bridge between humanity, the Titans, and now the entire galaxy. If we're going to reach the darkness, to change it, it has to come through me." As the final preparations were made, reports continued to flood in from across the stars. Entire sectors were going dark, consumed by the encroaching void. The luminous Aegis, for all its power, was failing against an enemy that rewrote the very laws of physics. In orbit around a dying star, Captain Jorax and his crew fought a desperate holding action. Their ship, once a science vessel, now bristled with weapons cobbled together from a dozen different technologies. "Hold the line," Jorax bellowed as tendrils of darkness lashed at their shields. "Every second we buy is another soul that might be saved." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. Species that had been bitter enemies now fought side by side, united against extinction. But it wasn't enough. For every victory, 100 worlds fell silent. The time had come. There would be no second chances. In the Cosmic Command Center, now linked to similar facilities across the galaxy, Aria took her place at the center of the synchronizer. Her parents, tears in their eyes, gave her one last hug before stepping back. "Remember," Dr. Ilara Chin said, her voice choked with emotion. "No matter what happens, we are so proud of you." Aria nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. Then, with a deep breath, she placed her hands on the control orbs of the synchronizer. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Aria's consciousness expanded, touching first the minds of those in the room, then spreading outward at the speed of thought. She felt the hopes and fears of trillions, each mind a unique note in a cosmic symphony. Through it all, she sensed the Titans, their ancient wisdom providing a steady anchor in the storm of consciousness. And beyond, at the edges of perception, lurked the darkness, hungry, ancient, and for the first time in eons, uncertain. As the linkage solidified, Aria began to guide the collective thought of the galaxy. It wasn't a battle cry or a plea for mercy. Instead, she led them in imagining something the darkness could never conceive on its own: hope. Across the galaxy, on every world and ship and station, beings of all kinds joined in a song of creation. They imagined light where there was darkness, life where there was void. They dreamed of a universe reborn, where even the cosmic horrors that haunted the night could find peace. The effect on the darkness was immediate and startling. Where before it had been an unstoppable force of destruction, now it recoiled, confused by the onslaught of pure creativity and joy. In that moment of hesitation, Aria saw her chance. Guided by the wisdom of the Titans and powered by the collective will of a galaxy, she reached out not to fight the darkness, but to embrace it. "You are not our enemy," Aria/Collective spoke, her voice resonating across dimensions. "You are a part of us, the shadow that gives definition to the light. We reject you no longer. Instead, we offer you a place in our song." The darkness wavered, its hunger warring with a newfound curiosity. For the first time in its unimaginably long existence, it was offered not resistance or fear, but acceptance and love. Slowly, painfully, the darkness began to change. Tendrils of void retreated from conquered worlds. Stars rekindled in dead sectors of space, and at the heart of the cosmic horror, something new began to take shape. The strain on Aria was immense. Blood trickled from her nose as she struggled to maintain the connection, to guide the galaxy in its song of redemption. But she held on, driven by a force greater than herself. Across the galaxy, cheers erupted as world after world was freed from the encroaching void. Ships thought lost reappeared, their crews forever changed but alive. In the command center, General Hawkins watched in awe as the tactical displays showed the tide turning. "I don't believe it," she whispered. "We're winning." But it wasn't a victory of destruction. As the last tendrils of darkness receded, they left behind not empty void, but new forms of matter and energy, never before seen. The cosmic horrors that had threatened all existence were transformed, becoming guardians of a new cosmic order. As the song of the galaxy reached its crescendo, Aria felt her consciousness begin to fade. She had given everything, pushed beyond the limits of what any being should endure. As the connection broke, she collapsed, caught by her tearful but jubilant parents. The great linking ended, but its effects would resonate for eons to come. The galaxy was forever changed, its inhabitants touched by a moment of true cosmic harmony. As the celebrations began and the work of rebuilding started, Aria drifted in and out of consciousness. In her dreams, she saw visions of a future brighter than any could have imagined, a galaxy where the darkness and the light danced in eternal, joyful balance. The cosmic crucible had been endured, and in its fires, life itself had been reforged into something greater than the sum of its parts. As Aria finally slipped into a deep, healing sleep, the Titans stirred. Their task, begun eons ago, was at last complete. But as one chapter of cosmic history closed, another, even grander tale was just beginning. The age of division was over. The age of true cosmic harmony had dawned. The cosmic renaissance. A decade had passed since the day the galaxies sang as one. Aria Chen, now a young woman of 24, stood on the observation deck of the Celestial Harmony, Earth's first true intergalactic vessel. Below her, a newborn star system pulsed with vibrant life, its worlds already teeming with possibilities. It never gets old, does it? A familiar voice said beside her. General Sarah Hawkins, her hair now streaked with silver, joined Aria at the viewport. Aria smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. Never. Each new discovery, each new form of life we encounter, it's a reminder of why we fought so hard. The galaxy had changed in ways few could have imagined in the dark days before the convergence, as the great linking had come to be known. The transformation of the darkness had ushered in an era of unprecedented growth and harmony. The Titans, their ancient task fulfilled, had not disappeared as some had feared. Instead, they had evolved, becoming living nexus points of cosmic energy. They nurtured fledgling universes and guided dying ones through graceful transitions, their wisdom now freely shared with all. Earth, once a backwater world, now stood as a shining beacon of cosmic collaboration. The great cities that had been reshaped by Titan technology during the war now served as centers of learning and innovation, where beings from across the galaxy came to share knowledge and dreams. But perhaps the most profound change was in the collective consciousness of all sentient life. The echo of the convergence lingered, a faint but ever-present reminder of the fundamental interconnectedness of all things. Conflicts still arose, of course. The galaxy was vast and diverse, but they were now resolved with a depth of understanding and empathy once thought impossible. As Aria and General Hawkins watched, a fleet of ships emerged from Fold Space near the new star system. These were the cosmic cultivators, tasked with nurturing new life and civilizations across the galaxy. Many of the ships bore the insignia of the former darkness, their crews composed of beings that had once been the stuff of nightmares, now dedicated to fostering growth and harmony. "Your parents would be so proud," Sarah said softly, a hint of sadness in her voice. Aria nodded, feeling the familiar pang of loss. Dr. Ilara and James Chen had not survived to see the full flowering of the cosmic renaissance they had helped create. Their sacrifice during the final days of the war had saved countless lives and helped secure the victory. Their legacy lived on in the Chen Institute for Cosmic Collaboration, now the foremost center for integrating new species into the galactic community. "They are proud," Aria said with quiet certainty. "I can feel them sometimes, in the cosmic background. They're a part of everything now." As they spoke, a gentle chime sounded throughout the ship. Captain Jorax's voice, warm and gravelly, came over the comm system. "Attention all crew and passengers. We're about to initiate first contact procedures with the dominant species of Novus Prime. All personnel to their stations. Ambassador Chen, your presence is requested on the bridge." Aria took a deep breath, centering herself. Even after years of serving as humanity's primary representative to new civilizations, the thrill of first contact never diminished. "Duty calls," she said with a smile. "Care to join me, General?" Sarah Hawkins grinned, the years falling away from her face. "Wouldn't miss it for the world, kid." As they made their way to the bridge, Aria reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From a scared child awakening ancient guardians to save her world, to a young woman helping to shepherd a galaxy into a new age of enlightenment. The path had not been easy, marked by sacrifice and heartache, but the result was beyond anything she could have imagined. The Bridge of the Celestial Harmony was a marvel of collaborative engineering, blending the best of 100 worlds' technologies. At its heart stood the Cosmic Resonator, a refined version of the device that had allowed Aria to link the galaxy during the convergence. Now it served as both a universal translator and a means of sharing emotions and intentions, allowing for true understanding between vastly different species. As Aria took her place at the resonator, she felt the familiar presence of Cronus and the other Titans at the edge of her consciousness. They were always there, a comforting background hum of ancient wisdom and support. Initiating contact, Captain Jorax announced, his 3 hearts beating with excitement. The main view screen flickered to life, showing the face, or what passed for a face, of the dominant species of Novus Prime. They were beings of living crystal and energy, beautiful and alien in equal measure. Aria closed her eyes, letting her consciousness expand through the resonator. When she spoke, her voice carried not just words, but the collective goodwill of a galaxy that had faced oblivion and emerged stronger for it. "Greetings, people of Novus Prime," she said, her words translated into pulses of light and emotion that the crystalline beings could understand. "We come in peace and friendship to welcome you to the greater galactic community." As the crystalline beings responded with bursts of curious joy, Aria felt a profound sense of rightness. This was why they had fought so hard, why so many had sacrificed everything. Not for conquest or domination, but for moments like this, the endless discovery of new life, new civilizations, new ways of seeing and being. The cosmic renaissance was still in its early days. Challenges remained, and the galaxy was vast beyond imagining. But as Aria stood on the bridge of the celestial harmony, linking minds with a species humanity hadn't known existed mere days ago, she knew one thing with unshakable certainty. The best was yet to come. As the first contact proceedings continued, stars twinkled in the void outside. But they were no longer cold and distant points of light. They were beacons of possibility, each one a promise of new wonders waiting to be discovered. Humanity, guided by the wisdom of the Titans and the boundless imagination of its children, had taken its place among the cosmos. And the universe, in all its infinite variety, was better for it. The end of one story was just the beginning of countless others. And in the grand cosmic tale, every voice, every dream, every moment of wonder and discovery played its part in the eternal symphony of existence.